Hi, greetings from Accra. Welcome to Talking Legal with TEMPLARS. My name is Eyram Homenya. I'm an associate in the Transactions and Strategic Advisory team at TEMPLARS Ghana, and I'm here with my colleague Kojo. Kojo is a senior associate in the Transactions and Strategic Advisory team here at TEMPLARS. Kojo, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So today we are going to talk about cybersecurity insurance in Ghana, and Kojo is going to take us through the cybersecurity landscape in Ghana. Welcome again, Kojo.
Thank you, Eyram. So I think to put it into perspective, cybersecurity falls into the broader conversation on digital innovation and the interplay with law. In the last 3 decades, it's been at the forefront of technology adoption to find that interplay, and it's very difficult for law to catch up with innovation. Today, there's a new innovation that will hit the market. The regulators don't have time. They're still catching up. But key for adoption is assurance for you and I that whatever we're using has some kind of regulatory supervision that goes into it.
Tell us about the regulatory environment for digital innovation in Ghana.
Yeah, so the primary laws and which border on issues of data privacy, cybersecurity, and electronic transactions are found primarily in the Data Protection Act, which is now more than a decade since passage. We have the Cybersecurity Act, which is more recent. It was passed in 2020. And you also have the Electronic Transactions Act, which is the grandfather of all these two legislation. But the push has been towards ensuring data privacy and ensuring that cybersecurity and or cyber usage is secure. It's end-to-end encryption. It does not violate personal rights. It does not cause business disruption, and that brings us into the remit of cybersecurity.
Okay. So now let's segue into cybersecurity. What laws govern cybersecurity?
So the primary law that governs cybersecurity in Ghana is the Cybersecurity Act, passed in 2020 to establish the Cybersecurity Authority. And key to their mandates is public awareness, also to ensure that cybersecurity installations and critical information infrastructure and professionals, products are all licensed and brought under one regulatory scope. They carry out this function through interagency collaboration. So you'd see that the Cybersecurity Bank of Ghana, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and other regulators all have bits and pieces of the larger cake, which is directives, circulars on ensuring compliance with cybersecurity in Ghana.
And do you think that the regulators are making significant efforts in promoting cybersecurity awareness in Ghana?
In significance, they made a laudable inroads, and laudable because, as I indicated in the beginning, innovation runs at lightning speed, and it's very difficult for any regulator. I mean, and I say this, that you look across jurisdictions, very difficult for a regulator to keep pace with it. But what they can do is to, at every point, pause and make significant directives or put some inroads into what the current landscape is. And to that extent, I think the Cybersecurity Authority has done that. They have now moved into certification of professionals and products. They have designated critical information infrastructure, which we'll come to discuss. And they have also done a lot in terms of interagency collaboration to ensure that all critical information infrastructure or institutions that are exposed to some form of cyber risk are adequately protected, or awareness is created to drive greater scrutiny.
So we know that the Cybersecurity Act has established a specialized framework called critical information infrastructure, which you mentioned earlier. How does that look in practice for the various sectors of the economy in Ghana?
So CI is not novel to Ghana. Jurisdictions that have cybersecurity legislation have similar provisions, and it basically is looking at a computer system that is critical to national security, economic and social well-being of the citizens. So if you cast your mind, that's a broad category of things that would fall in. But countries have designated specific sectors within that, In Ghana, we have 13 sectors, which the Cybersecurity Authority designated in 2021. In the US, there's 16. In EU states, there's 15. Common among these sector designations is energy, health, national security, and you also have people, supervisors of these CIIs. So the law has sought that these institutions have a specialized framework to ensure that cybersecurity is key to how they operate.
Okay. So now the big question. What is cybersecurity insurance?
Yeah, I think for that question, insurance is insurance. You want to be insured against all possible risk, but you also want to be sure that you're not throwing money away, which is the biggest problem for most people when they think about insurance. I like to group insurance into two categories, commercially mandatory and legally mandatory. So legally mandatory, you have your third-party auto insurance, you've got insurance workmen compensation that the law just says have. And there's a few in there as well that people are not aware of. Professional liability, because we're talking legal, and lots of law firms in Ghana don't have it, and thankfully we do. But you also look at these categories for auditors and professional surveyors. Commercially mandatory in the sense that you want to have it. It's highly advisable that you have it, because if you don't have it, when the risk does come, it can lead to significant losses and business disruption. Cybersecurity insurance is at this point a commercially mandatory one. And I say that because if you look at the critical information infrastructure that has been designated, service disruption can have a colossal effect. This year alone, we've had CrowdStrike, grounded planes, grounded industries. You'd have a situation like that. Will insurance pay out? It comes down to the terms of the policy. It always comes down to the terms of the policy. But what cybersecurity insurance seeks to do is to have that framework for the insured, where there's a cybersecurity unauthorized attack, ransomware, malware, or some kind of interference that causes a loss or business disruption, insurance kicks in to satisfy or to make good that loss. So it's important that you think about it as a commercially mandatory one at this point, although the law doesn't require it.
Okay, so let's say a client is interested in procuring cybersecurity insurance. What does that look like?
Well, I'm not a broker and I'm not looking to market cybersecurity insurance, but a key stat for you is insurance penetration in Ghana is hovering around 1%, which is very low. And in the non-life category, much lower. So you'd see that insurance is a conversation that is not at the forefront for many businesses. So when they come, the first question they would ask is, do I need to get this? And you always have to answer first as a lawyer and then as a commercially minded lawyer to say, no, it's not legally mandatory. But commercially mandatory if you're exposed to such risk that makes cybersecurity insurance a must-have. You'd go through an underwriting process, which in itself is important because they will conduct system vulnerability checks, penetration testing. They would set policies. You'd have a periodic framework of review. It keeps you on your toes. And we said in the beginning, innovation continues and the hackers also continue. They are unrelenting in discovering new ways to exact revenge on big corporations. So ransomware has been in the billions in the last few years. Similarly, insurance payments has also been in the billions. So we'll take you through the underwriting process. We'll look at, not the broker takes you through the underwriting process. We look at the policy coverage documentation and we give you a sign off. It's that assurance to you and counterparties that you operate with that helps you to run a smooth business. So that is the process that we'll take you through.
Thanks so much, Kojo. This has been a very insightful session. I'm sure our audience have learned a lot.
Yes. And just to add as well, I mean, it's always important that we put these things by way of public awareness. It's not intended to either downplay or promote any sector or any stakeholder, but just for for you to understand the questions that will typically come up. Cybersecurity insurance is novel to many industries, but it shouldn't be novel to you. Do reach out if you have other questions. You want to have a greater understanding of your cybersecurity exposure and how you can protect that. So thank you for having me.
Thanks, Kojo. This has been Talking Legal with Templars from the Accra office. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, see you.